Hi, I'm Wendy from Shiny Happy World, and this is the new Madagascar Bullseye Moth pattern. Here's how to make it. Okay, this is the video showing how to make the Madagascar Bullseye Moth if you are not using a light box. And you can see that there are a lot of tiny little pieces here, lots and lots of little pieces. So before I show you how to assemble this, I do want to show you the placement guide. So this is the placement guide. You will need to print this off if you are using a light box, but since you are not using a light box, you can just reference this on your computer screen. It's just a helpful guide to show you what the finished moth is going to look like and also identify which piece is what, so you know which kind of wonky oval goes where. So just showing you that we've got it as a reference. Now I'm going to talk to you about preparing your pieces. So let's see, this one's got some nice clear lines. So the first thing you're going to do is print or trace all of your templates onto the paper side of paper-backed fusible adhesive. I use Heat and Bond Light in all of my quilts. Roughly cut around the pieces and then fuse them to the back side of your fabric. After you fuse them, that's when you want to do a nice clean cut on all of your solid lines. These dotted lines are placement guides. They are showing you where other applique pieces are going to sit on top of these pieces, and you need those if you're not using a light box. So you'll want to transfer those lines over to the fabric side of each piece, and you can just hold it up into a window and the light will shine through and let you see those lines really clearly. I usually transfer them with a piece of chalk, but if the fabric is too light, here's one with chalk. If the fabric is too light for the chalk to show up well enough, though, I will use a pencil. So now let's get started. We are going to start with the main body piece. That is piece number 17. So I am going to position this right centered, very formal looking in the middle of the block. And in this one, the wings come out the top of the body, and then there's other wings that go down. So I'm going to guess at the up and down position, but I'm going to center it pretty well. We'll get the wings in place, and then we'll finalize the up and down of it before we put any of the pieces in. And this is one of the reasons that a light box would make this easier, is because you assemble the whole thing on the light box following exactly on these lines. You just lay the pieces down on what you can see shining through the light box and fuse them all together, and then you have the entire butterfly all fused together that you can very easily center on the block. But we're going to need to do a little bit of trial and error. And I'm not trying to talk you into getting a light box. I'm just explaining what the benefits are, but also showing you with this very video that you can do this without a light box. It just takes a little bit more fussing and a little bit of trial and error. Okay, so one wing piece is in, and now we're going to do number 12, which is the right side wing. And what I'm doing, I'm using this line that I transferred, and that is showing where it tucks underneath the body piece. So once I have that line covered, I know I've got it in the right place. And that's looking pretty good so far. Now let's get the two lower wings in, and we will see if we need to shift it up or down. So on the lower wings, I've got a line here where it goes behind the body and a line here where it goes underneath this top wing. So I'm going to kind of hold these in place and slide this guy underneath there until I get those two lines covered. And that's pretty good. Let's get the other one in, but it's looking like I'm going to need to shift the whole thing down. So we'll get this guy in, same thing. We're going to tuck this underneath these pieces until those lines are covered. And these wings are not supposed to be overlapping. I can see that in my placement guide. They are supposed to be right next to each other. And now, stand up to get a better angle. Yep, I'm going to need to shift the whole thing down just a bit. So let's try a little bit. That is not bad. I'm going to do just a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to kind of rearrange my pieces here. Tuck under. Just make sure I didn't shift anything too badly. There we go. All right, that's looking good. Before I put any of the other smaller pieces in, I am going to do one more thing. I'm going to get the antenna in. On this one, the wings go up a little bit, so I don't think adding the antenna is going to make a difference because I think they are shorter than the wings, but just in case. So there's one. Moths tend to have chunky little antennae. They're usually very fluffy or feathery. Sometimes they're thin and wiry, but most often they're feathery and chunky. And the Madagascar Bullseye Moth is definitely on the chunky side. Okay, get that just tucked under there. Okay, so I'm happy with the placement of the wings and the body and where it is on the block. So now we're going to do all of the other little pieces. So I'm going to start with piece 5. I'm going to start with any pieces that tuck underneath other pieces even a little bit. And this is a little blob of pink that tucks under there. There we go. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And this one is actually not as complicated as some of the moth patterns. Oh, the Atlas moth has so many pieces. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. These guys should be almost touching. All right, everything that overlaps is tucked and away, so let's now start doing the rest of the pieces. So we've got 14 is a big patch of slightly darker yellow on this wing. Get that fuzz out of there. One of the things that I do when I am putting a very similar color on top of another one or up against one is I will use the print of the fabric to help make a difference. So I'll make sure that the lines on the print are going in different directions. So now let's get these kind of crescent moons in. So we've got piece number 8 goes on this side. And then piece number 7 is going to go on the other side. Here we go. And then let's put in the top spots. These are the smaller ones, 15 and 16. So 15 goes on this side, and 16 goes on this side. And now let's give it the bullseyes that give it its name. So piece number 9 goes here, and 10 goes on the other side. All right, whoops, didn't mean to shift that so much. Okay, I think that looks good. I'm going to take this over to my ironing board, double check, make sure I didn't bump anything, and then I'll fuse everything in place. I'll take it to my sewing machine, do all the outline stitching, and then I will bring it back here and show you the finished Madagascar Bullseye Moth. And I will also show you a totally made up Madagascar Bullseye Butterfly. All right, here is the finished Madagascar Bullseye Moth. I did all of the outlining. This one was pretty straightforward, not too many pieces. I made this one in moth colors for a moth quilt that I'm making, but I also wanted to make a butterfly version. So this is the Madagascar Bullseye Butterfly, which is a completely imaginary creature, but I just wanted to show that you could use these patterns to make moths or to make butterflies. Just change the colors, play around with them. You can also mix and match all of the pieces between all of the different moth and butterfly patterns. So I'm doing 10 different moth patterns and 10 different butterfly patterns, and you'll be able to mix and match the wings and the bodies and the spots and the antenna and all of those details to create your own moths and butterflies. So you'll really be able to have a lot of fun with these patterns. But here is the Madagascar Bullseye Madagascar Bullseye Moth. You can get the pattern at Shiny Happy World. I'm Wendy, and I will see you next time.